Now to a CBS 5 exclusive. The state attorney general just launched a sweeping investigation which involves subpoenas issued to every Catholic diocese in New York. Bishop Robert Cunningham is here for his first interview since several big stories on the church broke over the last couple of weeks. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you spending part of your Friday with us.
Thank you.
What will the state attorney general's office find out about how this diocese handled abuse allegations over the years?
Well, I think the State Attorney General has subpoenaed us, as you said, asking us for all kinds of information going back to January 1st, 1950. I can say in recent years we've certainly complied. We've always cooperated with government agencies and the district attorney. We'll be happy to cooperate with the Attorney General. I think that they will probably find some things that whenever there's an audit, there's always some corrections to be made. So I think they'll find something probably, but again, we're going back almost 70 years.
Sure, over prior bishops for sure.
Right. So I think, since 2002, the diocese has certainly brought its act better together. We've cooperated. The district attorneys have information already. Have names and some information already that they've asked for, and we've always cooperated. We'll continue to cooperate.
Over those many decades, you say you're sure that they will find some things. Can you be specific? Well,
I'm sure that they might say that there was a time when we should have maybe involved law enforcement more quickly, but things were handled differently 40 and 50 and 60 years ago than they're handled today. We've made a lot of progress. The wide understanding, the wider audience has a greater understanding of the situation, and we do too. And so we'll try and do all we can to help people.
The Pennsylvania grand jury report is graphic and horrible. I'm about 300 pages into reading it. It's 1,300 pages. Have you read it?
No, I have not.
Would you read it? Would you have interest in reading it?
I've read summaries of it, and that's been enough for me. Certainly it is horrific, some of the things said there, and it's, as you said, very graphic. So,
the report from Pennsylvania has certain detail about secret files that bishops across that state would keep. Many, many documents, millions according to the prosecutor in Pennsylvania. Does the Syracuse diocese have, or did the diocese over the course of these years have these secret archives that were secret to the bishop that held all of this?
Well, I think that's an exaggeration. I mean, the Code of Canon Law calls for each diocese to have what they call a secret archive for more sensitive matters. So, for instance, a person's ordinary personnel file might not have everything in it that would be in a secret file or a confidential file. But those files have always been, they're available to the right party, to the district attorney or to people like that if needed.
Have they been turned over yet, or will they be as part of the Attorney General's subpoena?
We'll respond to whatever the Attorney General has asked for if they've asked for some of this specific information.
How do you go about asking for that, I wonder? Do you say, Bishop, we need the secret file, we need the archived files, the ones that nobody has seen yet?
Right. Well, I think the Attorney General's file, I mean, obviously the lawyers are working this out too. I think they're going to ask for specific information about assignments and when they were made and how they were made and help given and payments to people. But whether they ask specifically for a secret file, I don't know. But the subpoena covers it. It said information contained in confidential files or secret files.
There are things that will, as this report comes out, this new New York State report, we won't be talking about a Pennsylvania report anymore, we'll be talking about a New York State report that will be as uncomfortable to read, as uncomfortable to report, as uncomfortable for you as the leader of the church in this area to absorb, because those things are there?
There will be uncomfortable things in any file.
Yeah.
But you've got 8 dioceses in New York State. In Pennsylvania, it was for 6 dioceses. It's over 70 years. Not every case is equally bad, but every case shouldn't have happened, should not have happened.
The reaction to the State Attorney General's investigation has been cheered by some victims, some prior victims of abuse. It has been seen by, I think, most people as new light on a subject that, as we both agree, is very uncomfortable to talk about. But I was struck by something that came from the Catholic League on this, and I'd like you to respond to it. The Catholic League, staunch defenders of the church, anything that might defame the church. This is an agency and an organization that rushes to the defense of the church. It said this in part in a letter that they sent last week to the State Attorney General. Would you convene a grand jury on criminal behavior focusing exclusively on black neighborhoods? And then it went on to reference schools. Imagine what a grand jury investigation of the public schools would find out about current cases of abuse. Do you agree with any of that?
No, I agree that, first of all, we want to cooperate with the grand jury, the Attorney General. And what we're saying is, I think that we have to make sure that everyone is treated fairly. All child sexual abuse does not take place in a Catholic church. There are many other places where abuse takes place, and that needs to be considered too. And so while they're focusing on the Catholic Church right now, Catholic Church organizations, we're saying there are other organizations out there. Bill Donahue and the Catholic League is they take a particular stance. I'm not saying that I agree with that. I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you.
It does sound like, don't just pick on us.
Yeah.
At a time when a lot of people are saying, let's pick on you because we're not sure that you've come forth
Right.
and restored our faith in you.
Right.
Do you hear that side of it as well?
I think so. I think yes, definitely. But again, we have to go back to the fact that since 2002, we've done a pretty good job of saying we have very few instances that have taken place since then. I mean, reports come in, but not the actions. So that's a big difference.
The Pope, your boss, this week had in a homily that was widely reported on, where it seemed that he indicated that the devil was somehow behind these new allegations, particularly the ones that have come against him, that he may have known of some abuse going on in this country and then tried to
Right.
cover it up. Is the devil behind this, or are fallible men and maybe some women who might have been in charge of some things responsible for the fact that that we're in this situation?
Well, the church is made up of human individuals, and definitely I and human individuals, other individuals, have certainly made mistakes through the years, and that's what we're trying to correct now. I'm not discarding completely the fact that the devil is there and the devil exists, but human beings have made some terrible choices, terrible mistakes.
As you look, but what was your mistake? You say you're going to be praying this weekend, particularly on this. What was your biggest mistake? Do you know?
Certainly in the early days, it was hard to believe that some of these things took place. So maybe I wasn't as believing as I should have been from the beginning, and maybe as patient and listening. But through the years, we've learned from that. And I think, that mistakes were made as cases were handled, but we move forward.
Tell me about this weekend. This is a mass of forgiveness that you and your boss, the Pope, have been calling for, and it's going to happen in parishes all throughout the diocese.
Right. The Holy Father has said in his letter to Catholics worldwide in August that it would be good to return to practices of prayer and fasting. So in our diocese, I decided that I wanted to obviously follow what the Holy Father said, and I've declared this weekend to be a weekend in which we pray and fast and ask God's forgiveness for my sins, our own sins, and the sins of the church.
For disenfranchised Catholics, for anyone watching this who's a critic on the sideline, that may sound a little bit like, you folks messed up, but now you want something from me. You want fasting and prayer from me as a result of that.
Right.
Are people seeing that wrong if that's their take on it?
Well, I think everybody can have their own take on it. I don't see it that way. I think that, when one member of the church suffers, we all suffer. And so we're in this together, all members of the church. and we want to offer up our prayers, our suffering, our fasting for the sins of the church and for my own sins. And so I think that it's an attempt to join together in prayer and fasting.
Bishop Robert Cunningham, we could probably talk for a half hour.
Good.
But we have to go, and I know that you have to go. Have a
Good.
wonderful Friday evening.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks
for
very much.
coming in.
Good.
Appreciate
Good to
it,
be
sir,
with
and
you.
answering those questions.
Good.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.